People are obviously going to hate on Xbox regardless of what they do, so they might as well do what they have to do to get things in order. And I've always said that. I've always said, Microsoft should really just kind of cut to the chase, get in there, make the announcements that they need to make the changes that they need to make, and kind of move from that particular point. Is it always going to work out in their favor? That's the thing I think none of us really knows. But at the end of the day, they can't be really worried about that. You're trying to make something profitable. It is a business. Obviously, they have gamers core as well, sort of at the heart of things. So you have to kind of do things a way that appeal to everybody. Now, with that being said, there is some interesting news that comes out of this. And look, people have been saying for a long time, and this is the thing that, like, the faux concern, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I'm a legitimate Xbox fan. Stopping physical games is a legitimate concern for me. Some people might not think that's a legitimate concern. I get that. Now, with this, you tend to see a lot of people go, oh man, they canceled that game that Blizzard was doing, Microsoft's so bad. These same people complaining about Microsoft canceling that game are the ones that said that Microsoft should have canceled Redfall. So, what are they supposed to wait for? Now, listen, Matt Booty's doing his job, and here's the true fact of the matter. Dozens and hundreds of video games get canceled all the time. We just never know about it because the games weren't announced in the first place. This is why companies take so long in announcing games, and they make sure that they're, going to happen, because nobody wants to see all these games kind of delayed and things like that. So this is what Xbox had to say. Following the Microsoft and Blizzard layoff news that was posted, Xbox's Matt Booty also made a lengthy statement on the company's reasoning behind such a huge job of losses. Coming by the way of The Verge, Matt Booty has done some more explaining in relation to today's somewhat shocking news. Booty told Blizzard that Microsoft is aiming for a more focused strategy after acquiring the company, and that this move has contributed to these job losses. Here's what he had to say, and I quote, "As you may have read in Phil's note, today is a challenging day as we say goodbye to some of our colleagues. This is a difficult process, but it's one that will be best to enable Blizzard and Xbox to deliver ambitious games for our players on more platforms and in more places than ever before. We are moving forward with a more focused strategy across Microsoft Gaming that sets us up for sustainable growth and aligns our talent and resources to our top priorities. Thank you for working through these changes with us. Together, we will continue to create amazing games for our players with a culture that empowers everyone to be their most authentic selves and do their best work." So, again, people go, oh, well, that's a schmarmy type thing to say or whatever. And, it can be because it's corporate speak in one way. But the other thing is that at the end of the day, you can't have poor quality games put out. Like, I know people think Xbox or Game Pass is poor quality or whatever, but to be completely honest, they haven't put out any poor quality games. The only poor quality game they put out in the last 3.5 years has been Redfall. So a game like this Odyssey game, which was, first of all, a survival game, which really isn't my thing to begin with, but you have a situation where if this game would have launched and would have been terrible, people would have been blaming Microsoft again and hating on that. So I've said this multiple times. Microsoft is kind of screwed if they do and screwed if they don't, People are going to hate either way, so you might as well do the thing that you want to do anyway. So I think that it is keenly important for Microsoft to kind of do the things that they have to do to make things all the better. And you might go, CJ, you're so full of it, right? Because at the end of the day, how do we know about this game or whatever? So here's about this survival game, right? It was canceled because of engine issues. It's been claimed in a report published in Bloomberg that Blizzard's ill-fated survival game, which was codenamed Odyssey, was actually canceled because of development hell focused on the game's engine. This internally built engine at Blizzard was originally designed to be used for mobile game development, and while developers intended to use Unreal Engine to build Odyssey, senior stakeholders instructed them to pivot to Synapse to support their desires. It has been reported that this led to the ultimate cancellation of Odyssey following ongoing struggles and a final decision that Synapse simply was not ready for production. That's basically what it all comes down to, and that's according to, like I said, the Bloomberg thing, but also Insider Gaming ran with this article as well. So I'm going to leave these linked in the description below so you can check it out. So apparently they were using Unreal Engine at first and then they switched to the internally used Synapse engine because they were kind of forced to by, you know, their bosses, and then they wanted to switch back to Unreal Engine. And supposedly this game was going to be a 2020, tentatively 2026 game, but they were saying it might not even come out till 2027 or 2028, and it really wasn't ready for production or whatever. So when we look at that, like, how can anybody think that Microsoft did the wrong thing in canceling? They're doing what people have been asking them to do for a long time, which is get all your studios in order, all your ducks in a row, get everything kind of worked out to how you want it to be, so that you can make great games and provide people with the things that they want. That is, I think, what people really, really want. So, you know, it's always going to be the case. We've always asked Microsoft, get your studios in order, and that's what they started to do. Layoffs, reshuffling. Activision Blizzard, that company, had that deal fallen through, I know, because people are like, you were pro this deal going through, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and if the deal hadn't have gone through, we would be looking at a situation where probably even more people were laid off. So that's kind of how I look at it. You know, it's sad that so many people were laid off, for sure. But again, you can't have 10 people doing one job, right? It's completely redundant. Microsoft is doing what the majority of fans have been asking. Even like the 343 restructure, we all said that needs better leadership and direction. They did that. They didn't drop all the money in Activision Blizzard to do nothing. They're getting, you know, rid of some of the crap that was in there. Let's be honest. We were all calling for changes with Activision Blizzard. We wanted Kotick on. We wanted that culture change because, you know, they had this kind of like bad things going on behind the scenes. You know, they're changing things up. This is going to benefit Microsoft and Xbox in the long run. I think that's something that people will probably have to understand before too long. And hopefully, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, Microsoft they had to do something. You know, these changes had to be made. You couldn't have just had all this overhead and things like that. It sort of reminds me of what happened with like Twitter. You had all these people at Twitter, and what were they actually doing? I mean, it seems like most of them were getting paid to do nothing that worked there. Elon Musk comes in, buys them, gets rid of almost everybody, and it runs just the same, right? Like redundant jobs or whatever. So yeah, like again, I think it really kind of comes down to what each and every one of us kind of want to see from Microsoft in the future. Hopefully good things, but you know, I look at this as a restructuring and something that we all asked for. Let me know what you guys think though. Leave some comments. Check out the articles in the description. Rack them up. Crap Gamer out.